Okay, so this course we almost done. Maybe one more time this time. Okay, then we will move on to web design. So basically, we start with brief Python that we teach you for 4 chapters of the basic Python, like including 1 chapter in introduction, 1 chapter in data type, to teach you the basic data type, and 1 chapter in the data collection. So you learn string, list, tuple, those kind of things, and 1 chapter in program structure. Okay, that's brief Python. And after that, we go into a review of the brief Python. So we're using the programming essential course material that using the John Lera's textbook for chapter 1 to 3, right? And then chapter 4 is actually is for graphics. And then along the way, we also teach you some basic data science idea. So we teach you what is a function. We teach you how to make a plot. We teach you how to bring the data from CSV into Python to draw a plot, right? So basically, you know about the data set. And then later, we know about how to read and write from JSON to make a plot, and then also to dump the data to a JSON file format or write to a CSV file format data, right? So these are what we learned so far. So these are what we learned so far. So basically, I'm teaching this John Lera's textbook along with the help of the brief Python curriculum, also with the data science curriculum. Okay, that's my goal. I try to be using the data science as an example for Python. Now today we are going to introduce a new topic in the programming is essential part. So last time we talked about chapter 11, that is the dictionary. And then now we move back to the chapter 10 to talk about class. So you may wonder why I reverse the order for chapter, because class is usually more difficult than the dictionary. Okay, and class and object, we really talk about class in chapter 4 already. But at that time, we use the classes from the so-called graphic.py. Okay, we used it for graphic user interface. But now today we are talking about general design of a class. Okay, that's what we will do today. It's the general design for class. Okay, so that's what we will do today. So we go back to our chapter 10, defining classes. So we talk about classes, objects, and magic functions, and maybe a little bit of the inheritance. Okay, a little bit of the inheritance. Okay, so next one, that's actually get started with the topic. So today we go into the classes, and then we will appreciate how to define a new class, providing a complex structure, and then read and write the Python class definition. Okay, whatever. Okay, so far we teach you the data type of compound data type of string using the double quote, tuple using this, list using this, set using this, dictionary using this, property, colon, value. Okay, so these are what we learned so far. So today we introduce another one called class, and in fact, class in chapter 4 we already did it. So today we are talking about class and object. and also the combination of class with these different combinations as well. Okay, and right here in the list, we also teach you the numpy array that actually is an array type. It's different from list, but you can convert a list to array and array to list. So we talked about that before. And then today we are going to talk about class. Okay, class. So class is a template to create object. Okay, some of you already or is currently taking APCSA, so you know what is class. Okay, for Liena, you haven't heard of it, it's okay. So class and object. Okay, so class is a template. Object is, we call it instance. Okay, so let me ask Liena, because Liena, you haven't learned the class yet. So when you heard of the word class, CLASS, what do you understand about this word class?
Well, maybe I heard of it, but is it like a blueprint or something?
That's a template. That's what we talk about it in chapter 4. Yes, but I'm talking about general sense, not in CS.
Um,
When you talk about class, what is the class? By English, by biology, by anything that you know.
it's like a group of something.
Yes, it's a group of something, and then this group of something has some feature that everybody is the same, right? So
Yeah.
let's actually look at the biology term class. By term class is not standard phrase. Okay. What I want to tell you is actually class is a biological term. If you learn biology, okay, if you learn biology before, you must have learned this for classification of the animals and what's that? Animals and plants and the insects and everything. Okay, this one you must have learned this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do have the biological classification. That's what we want to say. Classification. You are grouping something together. So in the classification, you have top level is domain, kingdom, person, class, right? Order, family, gene, species. So basically, this is classification. So class in Python or in Java or in any programming language share the similar property. It's used to do classification. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So you may have, let's assume that you may have a class that's called person. I mean, actually, I'm sorry. So what I'm trying to say is that for somebody who may be studying biology, you still need these kind of things to help you to do research. The class may help you, okay? So you may have a class called person, right? And this person may have a subclass, of teacher, may have a subclass of step. they may have a subclass of student. So student is one kind of person, staff is one kind of person, and then teacher is also one kind of person, right? So teacher may have full-time professor and part-time professor, two different kind of teacher. Staff may have management, so like principal and then office managers, those kind of things. And you may also have some technicians who actually help to maintain your AC in school, those kind of technician, right? Student, you may have a high school student, you may have a middle school student, you may have like graduate student, college student, okay, whatever. So this is just like your biological classification tree. You have the domain, you have the class, you have the family, you have the species, different level. Okay, so your object can also be classified by that. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
Belinda, is that okay?
Yeah.
And we manage these different classes just because that we may have tons of different kinds of object. For example, that you in the graphic environment, you may have a windows, you may have a widget, you may have a paintbrush, you may have a circle, you may have a rectangle, you may have an oval, you may have a line. Those are kind of things you all want to draw it. So, but you somebody would like to actually create those kind of code for you, and you want to make it reusable. So you need to put them into a classes. So later you can reuse it in a better way. So in a way, this one can create several person. Teacher can create several teacher. High school student can create several high school student. This one is a template to create the objects. Okay. And then what the so-called Python is different from the class is different from dictionary. Okay, that's why I say that dictionary can be used as object as well. So object like a high school student, you can create the so-called high school student 1, 2, 3, right? You can create that, and then using dictionary, each one has a name, GPA, those kind of things. That's fine, right? That's fine, but you cannot classify it. You can only create one kind of student, that's actually high school student. That's it. And then if you want to organize the whole people tree like this one, dictionary is not enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
a system that is more complicated, using dictionary or JSON file, last time I talked about JSON file in JavaScript, it is used to provide you the basic object structure. So each object, it may have property, value, property, value, property, value that you actually represent in your data. But that's only represent a single structure. In C language, it's a structure, or in Pascal language, it's called record. Right? You represent that, but that can only represent for object. So in a way, JavaScript is a object-oriented programming. It do has the object. Dictionary is also one kind of object. That's fine, but they are not classes. Okay, they are not classes, so they cannot organize bigger graphic user interface. Recently, JavaScript start to adopt class, but that's not very long ago. Okay, so let me show you. So JavaScript, it originally don't have the class. It just had the JSON, the object, okay? But recently, JavaScript start to, allow class. So class originally was not a data type in JavaScript, but in the 2015 ES6, so right now the newer browser already support it. They do start to have a keyword class, but they're not very new, just probably 10 years of history. So many teachers still don't teach it. For example, when I teach the JavaScript, I don't teach it. Okay. Not really good to use. And they need to have a class constructor, extend, super, those kind of things. But JavaScript do have it. But JavaScript's method is very much like Java. Okay, so to learn Java is still a good way to learn JavaScript. Okay, that's another thing. But right here, we are talking about Python. Okay, so Python do provide a data type that you can create the so-called classes. Okay, now let's look at the first class. So let's see, now let's actually create something. Let me get started from a easier one. Okay, so let's actually get started with, let's see, let's atomic symbols in text and atomic numbers. Okay, let me see if I can grab some text information. I think this one would have the information. Okay, this one do have the information. So hydrogen, whatever name, you do have a table of these. Okay, so next one, what I'm going to do is let's grab it. I'm sorry. Let me grab it one more time. Okay. Let me make it smaller to make it easier to grab. So this scoring is moving down very fast. Okay, let me start from the beginning of the table. Let's go up to 17. Okay, here, let me go up to 17. So I go up to 17 and then I will add the other one in, but right now I don't want to scroll down, so I don't want to screw up, okay? So let me see if this one work or not. So let me create in the list, and then let me create in the Python data. Let me actually write here in chapter 10. This one, chapter 10, I have a misspelling. Let me change the name. I have an extra G in my directory there. Okay, and go into there. I'm going to create a new Excel file. Okay, so here, this one, we create a Excel file. My computer is slow, okay, but let's actually wait for it. It doesn't show up yet. Let me create one more time. Okay, here. So this one, let me rename it, okay? So rename this one as Atom and open it. Okay, and right here, let me actually pass the data. Okay, and then let me make it wider. So in a way, I put the data into here, and then Okay, it is okay to have this kind of data up to 17. Okay, no problem. That's actually the part is good. So I'm okay now. I'm going to move down a little bit from 18 from 18 to 33. Okay, let's actually grab it again. Copy. Paste. Okay. So to 33. Let's go down to 50, okay? Because my purpose is to demo computer science. I'm not trying to demo the chemistry for you, okay? I'm not a chemistry teacher, so my job is not to teach you how to do it for the whole chemistry class, okay? So we don't want to create something that's really too big. So let's go up to 50. So we have a 33. Let's move down a little bit to 50. So from 34 to 50. Okay, let's do 34 to 50. Okay, up to 50. If any atom bigger than that, you can copy it, do it later by yourself. Okay. So we got that. And then let's go back to my. So basically, this is the kind of a data sourcing. You try to get your data from somewhere else. Okay. Now you get this different data. Let's actually select everything and then check your phone to be 12. Okay, so that it actually get bigger, right? So here, this one, let me just put it as an element. I don't want to use a very long name. Okay, so element, and then this one, let's call it symbol. Okay, and this one, let's call it number. Okay, so we know what it is. And then let's select everything. Okay, and then field, let's actually put the white color so nobody have the color. Also, I'll clean up the border. So border, let's actually have no border. So everybody has no border. And then let's actually put this two column and then select them to be right adjusted. Okay. And then these two are too long. Let's actually do make them smaller. So let's do format cell to be 10. So they kind of moving smaller. This one is element. So this element, let's actually do let's do this. Let's actually open this and then insert a new row. And then let's copy the whole row. Okay, but here let's just copy the value. I don't want to. So this one, 1, 2, 3 is only the value. Let me see. This one, I just want to have the text. I don't want to have the formula. I just want to have the text. But somehow there is no text format that I can use. I'm sorry. Let me try a different way. So this one, let me delete it. Okay, so far so good. Let me try to save it. Okay, so this one let me save as. Okay, now change it to CSV. Okay, so save to CSV, and then after it's saved to CSV, let me see. Let me actually go to outside and open the CSV by editor. Let me see what I have. Okay, so let me open this one. Let's open it by Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's actually open it by Visual Studio Code. Okay, so you see it's only text. There's no HTML link. Okay, is that okay so far? So this is what we want. We prepare the data called C atom the CSV. Okay, so this one is actually saved. Okay, let's actually open a new folder. Okay, let me close it. Okay, let me close it. Let me open the Visual Studio Code one more time. Let me see. Another program is currently using the file. Let me see, something's wrong, okay? Let me see, let me close it. Let me actually get rid of this one. Let's open again. Okay. I think that solved the problem of being occupied by other program. That's the Excel file being occupied by other program. So here, let's actually open it directly one more time. So basically, we have a CSV file. So in the past, CSV, okay, let's actually let me open it. Open folder. Chapter 10. Go. Okay, so this one we are here. Okay, so we do have CSV and Excel file. Now, what we want to do is that we do teach you to read the CSV in by using the organization, using the split. So now today, let's do Python CSV loader. So CSV file, B file reading and writing. Okay, so today we are not going to open the CSV file and then using the read file, read line, those kind of things to read. Okay, we are not going to do that. Let's copy this one. There's a CSV reading. Let's copy the code from the internet. Okay, we open it. So let's copy it. Okay, now let's go back. So here, let's actually create a new file. This one, let's call it atom.csv. I'm sorry, .py. Okay, let's create this one called atom.py. So today we are going to teach you another skill that is reading the CSV file from disk without using our own program. Okay, we teach you how to read it using the module that already existing. So you import a CSV module, right? So with this, you open this by a new line mark, separate by new line mark as CSV. So you open the file, and open the file is equal as the CSV. So this is another way to write. This is similar to write like CSV file equals to. Okay, this one is the same as this. As you write the CSV file equal to open and then data.csv. Okay, and then you open it for reading. It's okay. This one and this one is the same. Okay, so here that's actually commented out. So I want to do this, and then this one I'm going to read it in from the atom file. So atom, right? And then you actually use the CSV headers. Okay, and then your header equals next CSV header. So every time you do this one and get next. Okay, and then for row in the CSV header, print rows. Okay, so here basically you will print out the element, whatever number, whatever they are. Okay, that's what they are. And then after that, you will start to read in the data as dictionary. So right here, it will still open the file of the atom. and then you will do dictionary reader using the CSV file. And then for the row in the dictionary reader, and then you actually, we print, you read in it, and you will do the row of the dictionary name. So it's actually element. And then simple, and then number, right? These are the data fields that we have. So basically, the first one you read in, you are going to print the first row that is your key properties, your keys. And then you are going to actually get the other rows, that's your value. Okay, so let's go back to our Excel. Now this one. Let me try to find it. So right now we are teaching you more systematic way of reading it in. You do not need to create your own program to read the data line by line. Okay, so first we teach you how to read it line by line because we are teaching you the so-called so this one, let me actually open with Excel. Okay, this one is the CSV file. So you open it, and then the data is right here. Let's actually make it 18. I'm sorry, Control E. Let's make every symbol to be 16. And this one, let me make everything wider. Okay, so basically the first line header is these three. These are key, right, in your dictionary. And these are key value pair, key value pair, key value pair, key value pair. So basically, if you read in, it will create something called dictionary type. So it's actually a row of dictionary object. Okay, that's okay. That's it is safe. And let's run it. So you do get all of these so far, okay. So you see all the data can read in, okay. Any question so far? So let's see here, you do have, let's see right here, you do have these different things. You do print it out. So you print out element right there, you print row. So when they print row, this row for the header, for the reader. So the CS reader, when it read in, this one is actually a list of strings. So I think this one actually is not reading the header, it's actually reading the lines line by line, okay? It's reading in line by line. By line, each line, they group them into a list. Okay, so this part I explained it in the wrong way. This one is reader, not header. So every time you actually, oh, this one you have a reader and you do assign it to the header. Let's look at the header. Okay, let's look at the header first. So this one, I remember there's a header, but here actually I miss it. So right here, that's actually to point the header. Okay, this one is header is the one that we want. Okay, so let's actually save a little bit, and then let's do run code. Okay, now let's look at what is in the header. Okay, so in the header, where is the header? We do not see the header. Did I save it? Let me save it one more time. Let's run it again. Okay, so header right here is edge element, symbol, and number. That's what I want for the header. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, now because I want to actually have the programming, so this header actually is a local variable. I don't want it to be local variable, so let's actually copy this header, put it right here, and then make it as an empty list. Okay, so this one is making the global variable header. Okay, so CSV read file to open the reader, that's fine. And you do next, in reading one line. You reading the right line for the header, that's fine. And then you actually print whatever. So far you open the file, but up to here you do close. Okay, you do close. So for your reference up to here, you may want to print the header, but after that, this is for loop. I'm going to disable it because you print out those things in list format. Okay, and right here you do have a open and dictionary reader, right? And then for the row in dictionary, so you actually will print out each row is a dictionary, right? But that's not what we want, right? That's not what we want. So what we want to do is, okay, right here we will have another one called items. Let me do it differently. Let's call it periodical table. So periodical table is a empty list. Okay, it's an empty list. And then we want to read these different things and put them as a object right there. Okay. So for each row, you got these. Now I will need. Okay, let's put it right here. So I need a class. This class called atom. Okay, and define init. Okay. Okay, so you have an atom. Each atom has a name, and then symbol, and then number. Okay, and then your internal variable name will be equals name when you construct it. Your self a symbol equal to symbol. And self that number will be equal to number. Okay, so this one is defining the constructor. Remember the constructor so far? So, Liana, what's the purpose for constructor? Do you still remember? Liana, do you still remember constructor? Constructor is like, let's assume that you have oxygen. And oxygen
like the init thing
equals atom, and then actually oxygen, and then simple is oxygen is O, right? And then your number is what, 16? 8. Is that okay? So they maybe have another atomic weight, but we do not have the atomic weight right here. Okay, I did not get the right table, but this one is used to construct a single oxygen. Okay, is that okay? Okay, anyway, let's actually do this. Let's actually put it as the constructor is to build a object. Okay, is to build an object. So right here, let's define another one that's called underline str, underline str. So here you have cell function. Liana, do you still remember or you forget it already? Not much.
I kind of remember, but like not all of it.
Okay. So what does this str do?
Like, if it's just str, then it's like the string.
You will convert the object to string, okay? Okay, so you actually convert the object to a string. So right now we do have a constructor, we do have two string function, that's it. So far these two good enough. So we come to here. So this three we will print it, let's don't print it. Let's don't print it, okay? Let's don't print it. So we will create something called A equals atom using row element, okay? Rows, symbol, and the rows, each rows number. So we read from that CSV file and then we put into a class to create an object that's called A. Okay, and we do not print this one out. We actually instead we print each atom A out. Okay, and then we do one more thing. We do, I'm sorry. And then our PVR equal table that append your atom into there. So basically you got everything in. So that's one that's don't print. That's don't print. Let's actually get out to print the periodical table. Okay, and then this one we don't like print. We would like to use pp print. P print. Okay, so right here you need to import the CSV and also p print for pretty. Okay, so we define the atom class. Atom class is used to organize the data. Okay, organize the data, and then you open it, and then from the file you read in each dictionary term, and then you actually put the dictionary term, convert it to an object using the atom type, and then the atom being added to your periodical table. Eventually, you print out your periodical table. Okay, that's it. Let's run it. Oh, symbol should be uppercase. I'm sorry. This is symbol S. I use uppercase. So let's use uppercase and run it one more time. Okay, this one actually everybody just print out that object, so that's not what we want. Then we will do what? This one. let's see, it will just print, so you print out, it doesn't convert it to the str format. So you go into the periodical table, it doesn't print out the way that we want. That's actually, don't do it this way. Okay, so let's do for each atom, A in PDR table, doing the A, okay. A is actually an object that will call the string function to convert it. Let's do it one more time. So this time we do get this. We do get hydrogen 1, helium 2, lithium 3. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Hello, that's what we want, okay? That's what we want. So this one tell you a way to read in your object from a CSV and organize it into the table. Okay, isn't that good? So we use a CSV module. We haven't used it yet, okay? In the past, we teach you to open the file by CSV directly. But right here, we do teach you how to open it and using the next function to read in one line for the header. Using the reader. And the reader, actually, you can read row, and each row will become a list. Okay, that's fine. But actually, it's the same as you after the split. But we can open this for using, but we don't, okay? And or you actually can open it as a file and you do dictionary reading. And then you try to, when you do dictionary reading, you already get the three property, you already get the three property. So these three, you can get it from the header reading there, okay? And then you actually use each one of the value, put into the atom constructor. Atom constructor will build a atom for you. Okay, and then you print out the atoms from the periodical table one by one. So in a way, this class is used to organize your data. Okay, so I'm using up to 50, but if you like, you can build a bigger periodical table. Okay, and here we do not have the atomic weight. So if you want to put the atomic weight, you can put one more field over here. Okay, so this one is no atomic weight, but you can do atoms, atom number. So atom symbol number and the weight. Okay, if you like it, you can get this from some other table. I'm sure there are a lot of other table you can get. Okay, right here, this one do have the atomic label, symbol, name, and mass. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah.
So mass, you may need to use a 14 point to store it. Anyway, I just teach you how to grab the data from internet and then read it by CSV file and then present it. This is data science. Okay, data science part is that you have a table from web page. When we do read it, we call it crawl. Okay, we crawl the data out. So it's called crawl, or sometimes it's called let's see, UC Irvine information retrieval. So UC Irvine had a class called information retrieval. It teaches you all kind of skill to retrieve the data from websites. Okay, just strip over your data from the website. Okay, that's called information retrieval. That actually already a class. Okay, a class. Or you do like web scrapping Python. This one is teaching you how to scrap data from Python. So here, this one, Real Python also teach you how to do particles scrapping. Right now, I'm teaching you scrapping, okay? But my way of scrapping is using copy and paste. That's not systematic way to do it. You eventually you need to use a website skill, because if you know about HTML, you should be able to use HTML to scrap out the data. That's why we need you to, second course, we will teach you how to do HTML website design, because you will need it. Okay? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So that is a web page scrapper. Web page scrapper. I cannot, we don't go to here, okay? But this is more advanced topic. It's teaching you how you have a web page, scrap the data into a CSV, from CSV read into the Python program. From Python program, you do data analysis, machine learning, actually AI, whatever, and then finally you come out with the plotting. Okay, you come out with the plotting. That's a whole data science things. Okay, this one is the scrapping part. Okay, so first example, we talk about atoms. And then we read it from file, and then we put it into the so-called dictionary. Okay, that's the first one we show. And here we only show you the init and str, two functions. Okay, let me show you more of these underline functions. It's actually right here. This one, no, not this one. It's right here. Okay, this one. This one called magic functions, magic methods. Okay. Okay, and you may or may not remember, okay, but I did say it when we go chapter 4, I do say it. So for Benjamin and Belinda, let me ask you a problem, okay? You guys studied some Python before. So what does this underline function really means? What if there's a function called define f? There's no underline, and this double underline function. So we call it D under function, double underline function. So double underline function, what does this become special?
Is it to show that's a constructor?
Constructor is one of it. Is one of it. But there's a underline str as well. In fact, the web page I just show you, there's tons of this kind of function. We call it magic function. But magic function in grammar, what do we call it? So right here, you do have underline ed, underline str, underline rep, underline call, underline len. Okay, this is one group of the underline function. And there's an underline add. Okay. There are tons of the underline function. And when we have a function, there's an underline new. When we have an underline function, what is the purpose of these underline functions? Anybody know? Or if you don't know, you say, I don't know. Then I know.
No, I don't know.
Here you have underline and then sub, underline multiply, underline mod, underline. All of these, we call it private methods. Is that okay?
Yeah.
When you have the underline A underline. We call this one a private variable. Okay. When you have double underline a function name, that is a private function. Okay. So Python E under method and the private method. Okay. So private method is one group of method. E under method is a special case for private method. So Benjamin and Belinda, private method. So what is a private method?
It means you can't access it if you're in a different class.
Yeah, cannot access it from outside or different class. So it only can be called by internal. So basically you do underline init. You cannot use underline to call it. Instead, you will do add-on as a constructor. Is that okay? You never call this one. You have to call this one. Okay, so call function, you assign this one to A, then you can do A of this. That will call an evaluation function for the object. Okay. So far, okay.
Yeah.
How about Iena? Can you understand it or no?
Yeah, I can.
So when we say private function means this function is nobody can see it from outside. So can you call like here you do have a equals add-on. Okay, blah blah blah. But can you do A that underline init? Underline to call this a constructor? No, you cannot. You have to use A equals add-on this function. Then you can call this one. Can you do A that S underline str function to call it? No, you cannot. You can only do str, then your object, and you convert this one to a string. Okay? Anyway, a little bit abstract, but so far, okay, I will explain it later. Okay, again for this underline function. But let's look at more underline function. Right now, this is not enough. Okay, this is not enough. So we do teach you the atom and read in the atom files and create a periodical table. That's fine. That's actually some reading from CSV. That's what we want to teach first. Okay. So basically, with the class, with the help of the files and class, we can read in CSV. We can read in SQL file. We can read in Panda data frames. We can read a lot of file from some format without hassle. Okay, that's what we want to do right now. But it's an atom class that's stuck right here. Okay, let's start right here. Let's actually try to create another class to do it. Okay. Let's actually try another one. This one, let's go back to the polynomial. So we did teach you polynomial probably in the chapter 4. We do teach you the class of the polynomial before, okay? Oh, okay. In the math section, when we plot the math, okay? So this is a polynomial. We'll do it one more time right here, okay? But we will teach you new ideas. Okay, let's create a class called polynomial. So polynomial is a class. You create a lot of polynomials. So you do define a constructor function that will create polynomials. So each polynomial you should have a self variable, and then there is a coefficient, right? So you self the C, let's use C, okay, because coefficient is too long. Coefficient, let's use it for the parameter part. So you assign it to the C, and then this coefficient should be least, right? That's what we want, right? And then define, okay, underline str, underline cell, and then this one is to convert your object to a list. So at this moment, just do it this way. Just do str of yourself that C. Okay, then just using the coefficient to write it. Okay, that's up to here. These are what we learned so far. So polynomial one will be equal to polynomial of 1 to 1. Okay, in the function we do teaching this already, right? And then that's print your P1. Okay, so right here, you have the 1 to 1. So this one create, this one is C2 x squared plus C1 x plus C0. So it's 1 to 1, but this is C2. This one is C1. This one is C0. Do you remember that? Remember this one so far? Any questions so far?
No.
So the constructor is used to build a polynomial. This is called this constructor. STR is when you have this one, you actually convert it. You call this STR, right? So if you do this, if you do this, you actually string 1 equal to data plus str or P1. So P1 is an object. You will use str function to convert it to string. Just like your integer, you can use str to convert to integer. Convert to string. Okay, I'm sorry, convert to string, and then you can print str1. So this one, str will call underline str, underline. Is that okay? So far, okay. Hello, so far, okay.
Yeah.
Now let's do this. So far we teach you two underline function. These are already teach you. We already teach you in the ATOM file, right? ATOM. So let's try another one. This one I call it define REPR. So I don't print it in the list format. I would like to print it in the tuple format using REPR. So this str I print it in the list format. REPR I print it in the tuple format. Let's try. Okay, let's try. both are still in the list function. Okay, let's try. Now let me actually comment out this str. Just keep the IPR. Oh, it still work, but it called the reprint. Do you see that? When you disable the str, the reprint come out. So this one work similarly to str, but lower priority. Is that okay? And this one is called reprint function. This one we call toString function. So toString function is stronger. If you use strings toString function, you will actually print toString function. When you call str or automatically convert it to string, they will call str. And you will print out in this format, the bracket format. But if you do not have the str function, then you will print out using the reprint function. Let's do it one more time. Solution reprint, let's actually print it. So it's a reprint format. Let's actually turn on the str, underline str, and run it. So it becomes bracket again. It's okay. That's why I do this on purpose. Any questions so far?
No.
So this is, you can call it toString function number 2 or backup toString function. Is that okay? Liana, are you okay so far?
Yeah.
So toString function is when you have an object you want to convert it to string, you will call the toString function. But if you have the definition of str, you will call this one. If you don't, you will call the one called reprint. But if you have both, str will take over. It's a stronger sense toString function, okay? And why they have these two names? I think the early days, the Python developer must confuse. They may forget it and then define two functions of the same purpose. But later, because a lot of programmers already use it, so they cannot delete it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now another one is called define underline code. This one actually we teach you when we do the math part. Okay. And then you can pass in as variable. Okay. This one we call it a evaluation function. So this one, when you have the polynomial, let's call it p of x equals 2x squared plus x plus 1. So when you say p of x evaluate at x equals 2 is equal to actually p of 2 equal to 2 times 2 squared plus 2 plus 1. Right? This one is evaluation. You put a parameter into there to evaluate a function. Right? So you would have a sum, let's call it S equals 0.0. Okay, at the end, you will return this sum. I think we did this before, right? And then we will do the index. So we do for the index coefficient. Okay, let's call it call it C. Okay, coefficient in self plus C. Okay, let's do reverse. Let's do reverse. Do reverse. Benjamin, how to do reverse? Do you remember? You have to remember them, okay? This one we teach you before. You have to remember them how to do reverse.
Isn't just a negative or something? No. Okay.
I
Never
think
mind.
last year you did not take my Python, right?
No.
But we do teach you these early when we do with Python.
Yeah.
Okay. Belinda, do you remember this one? Belinda, do you remember this one?
Kinda.
How about Liana, do you remember this one? You start from here, going all the way to the end, and then jump by -1. So it's -1, -2, -3, -4. So it's a reverse order. Okay. So you got a reverse order, and your sum plus equal to your sum times x plus c. And that one will calculate your coefficient, evaluate your function. So let's have a 2x squared plus x plus 1. The coefficient is, I'm sorry, it is x like this. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me do it. Our coefficient is 1, 2, 1. This is C2. This one is C1. This one is C0. So it actually is 1 times x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay, so initially this one is C2. So C2 is the first row. You put sum times x. X is some value, but sum is 0. So this part initially nothing. You just get a C2 equal to sum. So initially the first row, sum equals this. Second row is C2 times x plus C1 assigned to sum. Next one, your C2 times x plus C1 times x plus C naught. You got to the sum. So this one is your evaluate function that you want to have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this one, how to use it? This one you do P1 at 2 equal to P1, and then you put a 2 in there. So this one is the object name. Object name is P1, but you want to evaluate it with 2. So when you call this evaluate function with 2, you will call this call function. Call function is to call that object and evaluate it. Okay, and then after it finished, we do print out this P of 2 equals percentage F point to F percentage P1 at 2. And that should be 9. Oh, I'm sorry. It is 16. Let me check. Okay, it actually is 2 squared plus 2 times 2 plus 1. Why is it actually 16? I have something wrong. Let me see. It shouldn't be 16. Something wrong. It's 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. That's actually okay. Let's print sum in each step. Okay, let's print each step sum. When this happens, you may have error, but let's do it. So first row is 1. That's correct. First row is 1. That's correct. I know what is wrong. It actually is not plus equal. It's actually equal. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not plus equal. Plus equal too fast. It's equal. So first time you have a C0, C2. Second time you have C2 times X plus C1. That's this. That's not really S plus equal. Okay. So I find out it's wrong, but now I can actually update it. Okay. So that's okay. My formula wrong a little bit. So far, okay. So now it's okay. So call function, okay now. So call function is used to evaluate the value. str used to convert the data. Call init function used to construct the object. So here you build a polynomial, you do print it, you do this so far. Any questions so far?
No.
Now today's purpose is not to plot the mathematical function, okay? That's not our purpose. Today is that we want to try different magic function, okay? So we want to try different magic function. Okay, we want to try different magic functions. So we finish let's see. What am I looking at? Oh, I'm looking at the scrapping, that's wrong. Not this one. No, I should look at the magic function. So magic function, let me see. You need call length. This one's length, okay? So let's actually use the length function. So here you can define length function. Okay. So you will return, okay, the length of your cell plus C. Okay, your coefficient number is that your length. But this length is of no use. So let's do P1 LEN equals P1. Let's call it LEN. Okay. So when you use LEN in the for loop, it really calls underline LEN code. Okay. But this P1.len is actually not what we want. Okay. We do polynomial. This one is not what we want. We will teach you another one. Okay, so this one is actually 3, right? 3, but you don't like the 3. So let's actually create another function. This one, let's call it. We have a length. So here let's declare another one. This one called define degree of self. Okay, and it will return length of the self for C. Okay, you can do this one, and then minus it. So this P1 that degree will call the length function -1. So the degree is now 2. Is that okay? Because we want to have a two, I mean, S squared is order two, okay? Is that okay? Yeah, quadratic function. So that's how this length sometimes used. But length by itself doesn't make mathematical sense. We have to convert it to mathematical sense. So that's the length function. So when you do for I in range length of the nums, it really called this length really called underline LEN function. So why this function work? Because the list somebody already write the function for you. Okay, somebody already write the function for you. So right here we finish the special function init str reference call and length. This is the four function we finish. Okay. Now let's move on. Okay, let's move on. We use polynomial because there is a reason we want to do that. Okay. Now this one, let's do add. Okay, let's do add. So add, that's actually you have a object. Let's assume that you do A plus B. You return C. One polynomial 1 plus a polynomial 2. You return polynomial 3. Okay. So that's the add function that we would do. Okay, that we would do. So let's look at the add function. Let's put it over here up to degree. Okay. So define underline add underline. Okay. So here you would have other. Other means the other polynomial. Okay. So basically you have two polynomial now is right here. Okay. One is longer, one is shorter. Okay. So let's actually try to have the longer. Okay, longer. So longer is the maximum of let's see, length of the cell C. Okay, and then the other one is the length of the other C. Okay. Here this one you need to have a cell function. So you calculate the maximum of the current one's length and the other one's length. Okay, there's a longer one, and then you may have another one that's called shorter. Okay, and then it's minimum of the length of the surface C, length of the other. Okay, and then you also need to know S long. Okay, so S long actually let's do length of the surface C greater equal to length of the other C. This one would be true, otherwise it would be false. So as long as self is longer, okay. Longer means the longer one of the coefficient list. Shorter means the shorter one of the coefficient list. As long as like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm using the so-called Java format. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean change it. Okay. So it's a conditional statement. Okay, so here, let's do this. So for I in range, let's in range of the shoulder. Okay, so this is from 0 to the length -1. Okay. You will do this, you will do. So here you will have, here you should have the coefficient equals 0 times longer. Okay.
Yeah.
So your new coefficient a plus b, you will actually get a longer one. Okay, get a longer one's coefficient. So this longer one's coefficient is there. And then you will do this, you will do coefficient I will plus equals this one should be cell that C's I plus R that C's I, okay. Okay, up to the shorter one. And next one is for I in range. Shorter. Okay, so shorter -1, that's the length of, that's the actually the last one for the shorter one. So starting from shorter, that should be the longer one. Okay, up to the longer. Okay, up to the longer. These two value, you actually your coefficient. So if as long, then coefficient I, okay, plus equal to self that C's I's value. Okay, else coefficient I's value plus equal other that C's I's value. Okay, you get this two, and then you will retain, okay, polynomial or you return a new polynomial. Which polynomial you return? You will return this one called 1, 2, 1. This one actually is a coefficient, so you put your coefficient here. Okay, you put your coefficient, you return the coefficient out. So here you do have a P1 that's 1 to 1. Let's actually try another one that's actually called P2 equals polynomial of 1, 1. So basically you have two functions now. You have two functions that's s squared plus 2x plus 1. And then the other one is actually x plus 1. You sum together, you should get x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, so you put it should be 2, 3, 1. Okay, so now you do this, you do P3 equals P1 plus P2. Putting your P3. So P1 plus P2 is that what we want to teach you. This plus sign is the f function you want to have. So f function will be overridden by the A function. This one is replace the person. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Say that's wrong. See? 2, 3, 1. Okay. Let's try something longer now. Okay. So now you have 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Let's try a longer one. So let's do P4. P4 equals to polynomial of, now I want to have x fixed minus 1. Is that okay? So x
Yeah.
fixed minus 1 is actually is minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Okay, so that's what it is. So this one should have 4, 0 in the middle. Okay, so should have a 4, 0 in the middle. So here is minus 1, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, and 1. Okay, this one is x to the power 5 minus 1. So you have this 2, 3, 1 plus minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. You sum these two polynomials together, you got 0, 3, 2, 0, 0, 1. Okay. That's what you would get. Okay. And then this one, you should get 0, 3, 2. Okay, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. So let's do P5 equals P3 plus P4. Just put in your P5. Okay, I think this one should be fine. This here. P3. Okay, let's look at P3. P3, I'm sorry, this is P3x is x squared plus 3x plus 2, right? And then now you have x5, 0, 0, 0, 0, minus 1. So you get 1, 3, 1, 0, 0, 1. Is that okay? Is that this one? Okay? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this whole thing doesn't make sense to me. A little bit doesn't make sense to me. Okay. So the two-string function, if you do this, it doesn't make sense to me. Okay, let's do this. Let's do a little bit of a trick right here. So let's do reverse then. So originally, I just write out the data based on the order. Okay, but now if I reverse the coefficient and then print out it as my printout, then you will go from higher order to lower order. But you know the array, it doesn't store it in that way. It's okay? Hello, is that okay?
Yeah.
You reverse it, reverse. But Does it hurt your data? No, your data still stored the lower order first because it's a list still, but when you print it, you actually kind of reverse it and print. So that actually will give you the reverse order. Okay, eventually I change it to that. Okay, so that actually can give you the polynomial function that we want. Okay, now you can continue. Okay, you continue. I show you the f function. So right here you have more function that you can put. So here they are the enter function, or function, inclusive or function, is left shift function, right shift function, invert function. You see that? So basically, these different things you have to define for yourself. Right here, I no longer implement everyone, because if I implement everyone, it will take me a whole day to finish. So what I would suggest that, okay, let's try another one. This is less than equal to this one. Okay, this comparison one. Let's actually look at it here. Okay, and then. So here I finish the add function. There is also minus function, star function, divided function, integer division function, percentage function, power function. Okay, but there is a one that actually is R-add. There's an add function. There's another one called R-add function. What's the difference between add and R-add function? Okay, add function is very easy. Add function, you have the add. So basically you have A plus B, right? So your cell is this one, A, B is the other. So sometimes you may have A plus 3. So right here, I only deal with polynomial, but in fact, the B or the other one can be a polynomial or can be a number. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So if it's a number, then what we will do is that actually we will create a zero for it. Okay. Let's go back to here. So right here, let's see. So let's assume that here you do have other. Okay, so other. So right here, if you actually have so let's do if type of other. Okay, so if they are the type of the other is actually is a here should be double question, is a integer or a floating point number. Okay, so you will create other would be equal to polynomial of using the other to create list and create polynomial, and that is your new order. Is that okay? So
Yeah.
right here, let's try P5, P6. You can use P5, okay, but let's do P6 equals P5 plus 10. 6. So this one is you add a right hand side order that is not a polynomial. Is that okay? You add on the so-called the degree 0 part. Okay?
Yeah.
Now this one actually can get even bigger because you do need to work out for all of the arithmetic function. We don't have the time, okay? You have the minus you need to deal with, time you can deal with, percentage you need to deal with, integer division you need to deal with. You need to define every single one. Power you need to define with. Or you don't need it, you don't define it, okay? Now let's go down to the other one that's called R8. So add function we know, but how about R8? What is a R8 function? R8 function means that you have a polynomial, say A right here, but you do 3 plus A. Right hand side add. Is that okay? Hello, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right hand side add. R8, right hand side add. Right hand side add means your cell is on the right hand side. You add another one before it. So I can only tell you this. They are R add, R multiply, R whatever subtraction, okay? All kind of R functions. We don't have that time to do everything here, okay? But as you can see, today's class, this polynomial is way bigger than the one we talked about that first time. And then this polynomial, why we discussing it? Because when you do mathematical function, we do need to create polynomial, but this polynomial can be way more complicated. It's actually the whole algebra 2, right? It's a whole algebra 2 of knowledge. You need to put them into here. So next one, let's look at the equal function, double equal signs function, equals function, and not equals function. Okay, let's look at these two. And there's a less than and greater to, okay, function. So let's go back to here. Okay, so here. So we compare to this one is arithmetic. You need to do all of the mathematical function. Now we want to compare the relational operators. Okay, relational operators. So you do define underline equals. This is equal function. Okay, so EQ function. You compare self and other. Okay, so if the length of the self actually is greater or than equals function, you actually is not equal to others length of. So if two polynomial have different degree, then you return false. These two cannot be equal, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Then you do okay, so anything else would be the sentence. So you do for the range of the every length of the cell that see every single data, okay. Then if the cell that see sub I not equal to other that sees i's value, then you will return false because some of the coefficient is different. If some of the coefficient is different, then you return false. Otherwise, you return true. You go through every coefficient is still the same, you will return true. Okay, so far okay. Then you define not equal. So not equal, you will return self that underline equal. Okay, other. But you need to negate it. So you return not this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is equal function and not equal function. And then you may have less than, greater, equal than, you define it, okay? You can, if you have time, you can define it by yourself. So there are tons of more function, the whole chapter you can work on if you are interested. And they are also push and pop function you can work on. Okay. Content function you can work on. Content function. Index function, there are also index function you can work on. There's a content function, there's and or inclusive or shift total function. So there are tons of the magic function right here. There are also I add, okay, so you have to study what is I add, okay? I teach you R add, so there's also I add. Oh, so there's a I add, and then I end, whatever. And then there's a dir function, several functions, tons of functions. Today we are going to go up to here, okay? Because we cannot finish it in one day. This one, the whole things will take you a whole week to study if you just study the polynomial, okay? But we have to stop it right here because that's good enough. Good enough for you to know that any math, you can use the class to model. So our purpose is that we build mathematical model in math. And then this is converted to Python. Right? And Python has two ways. You have the symbolic processing, or you do numerical processing. Symbolic means that you calculate the symbols. So x squared plus x plus 1 plus 2x plus 3. This is symbolic processing. What function you get? Numerical means that this p of x, you evaluate x equals 2. You get some value. So you put the math model, you evaluate it into symbolic function or numerical function, and then use that to make plots. That's called data visualization. Okay, this is called data science. The whole thing is called data science. So we use the model, you read the data from the Excel file, and then use the mathematical model to read it in, CSV file to read it in, you process it and you present it, right? This is called data science. So data science means that you get it from a file, read it in by CSV, then you put it into Python processing, Python build data object classes, whatever, and then do processing and make a process from source to sink. This is called data processing. And machine learning means that, okay, here you have the data, you do processing, but during your process, you will use your big data, historical data, the learned data to make decisions. So your SAT versus GPA, you read in those data from CSV file. This region is a set. And then there's a certain region is called waitlisted. And there's a third region is called rejected. So based on the data you read in, and compare with historical data. So this is historical data, maybe every year is changing. This year, SAT 1300, but this year student, because of 1300, we do not accept enough people. So that actually lower our SAT. So the next year, the SAT will drop. But this year we actually lower SAT, but we actually admit too many people. So this year we raise up our SAT. So that machine learning is up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down every day to adjust a level so that San Jose State can always using the database to accept, say, 6,000 people a year. So how can we know that this number will be correct? 1325 is the SAT score that we will accept people. 1200 is the line that we will waitlist a student. That's because we use as historical data. And this historical data, since the first day we try to use this database system, we read it in from the student's application form. And then this one accept, this one waitlist, this one reject. And those data we key into our historical data. And then next year, based on the older data, we actually process the next year student. And then we add more data in to do learning. And then next year, we actually adjust the level for SAT and GPA. And then every year we do the same thing, keep accumulating. And then after 30 years, we can almost using the SAT to predict this guy should be in or out. That's machine learning. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Belinda, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's assume that you do a biological study. You also read in the population of some rabbit in a certain area. You also read in the predictor like fox in the area. And then in the spring, okay, how much waterfall and how much whatever, and then how many rabbit grow up, and then how many fox grow up, and how many fox eat the rabbit, and then how many fox die because of the rainfall, whatever. Those kind of things you put into historical data, you keep learning after 30 years, you know this year's waterfall, you know this year's temperature, and you can predict this year the population of rabbit and the fox should be so and so, grow 10% or drop 10%. Then you can predict your population of your rabbit and fox. Right? If you apply this same into stock market, okay, this one you actually have this kind of the interest rate from the federal government. Your stocks should rise how many points? Okay, this company report earning of this much per the so-called machine. Actually, the profit margin, how much money they make based on this different data. We put into historical database, and then we keep learning, and then we can predict. This year, Japanese rate is 4.5, CPI, the inflation is 7.2, and then based on this kind of message, we can predict this year's Dow Jones should drop 200 points. It's okay?
Yeah.
And then you use that for trading. That's called high-speed algorithmic trading. So you can use that into stock market as well. So that's called algorithmic trading. Python can do that. A lot of people building the Python model. Implement another bigger trading strategy with Python. We are almost done, okay? This next week, we are going to wrap up Python. But so far, what I'm trying to do is give you the idea of why are we doing Python and how much will that help you in terms of future study and where should you go. I cannot teach you everything that you need for Python because too much, right? But what I want to do is give you the idea of what is data science. So we teach you the Python from simple structure to complicated structure. Every structure we try to teach you is used when you have a mathematical model. We try to convert it into Python code. and then use that Python code to do machine learning, to do data science, to do data prediction, to do data visualization. That's our purpose. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And then application can be biology, can be stock market, can be EE, can be computer science, can be physics, can be finance, everything. Everything now they need big data and need AI. That's why some people ask me, do you need to learn AP, CSP, Python website for if I'm finance major or if I'm biological major? Do you need it? Yes, you need it. You can stay as a traditional biology science, then you have no AI background, and then 10 years later you figure out, oh, I got fired because I don't know about AI, I cannot process the data. That's a big problem. Or now you learn some data science, and later when you become a scientist or you become a doctor or you become a nurse or whatever profession that you seek for, you become a fund manager in the Wall Street. You don't need to write a program. Most of the time, if you don't go into CS, you don't need to write a program. But you do need to know how to tell people what kind of program that I need, right? It's okay? If you are major in like biology, your major purpose for doing coding is that I know what program I need, and I know what I should I purchase, what kind of software should I have so that it can help my profession. That's all you need to know. As for the coding, leave it for the computer science people. They will do it for you. Is that okay? Hello?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as a medical profession people, or you are a doctor or you are a researcher, you do need to know what this data mean to you. And that is data science, that is AI, okay? But CS coding part, no. I would say you try to kill yourself to do coding, you will not be able to beat those people from computer science. You will not, unless you go into computer science. So a better way to do computer science nowadays would be the one who go to like my son's MET program. You both major in business and also in computer science. So in a way, you know the domain knowledge, you also know about the computer science. That's the best. But usually that's very hard because it takes too much time for people. Okay. So if you choose to be either way, become a coder, you develop your code, or you choose to become a professional in finance, in biology, in medical, you choose to become one, but you still need the other side's knowledge. Okay. Okay, that's it. That's it for today. Good night then. See you next time. We'll talk about database next time. Okay. Good night. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.